Abandoned frontiers. The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the viewports of the Earth defense ship Arbiter. Captain Elena Reyes stood with her back straight and hands clasped behind her, dark eyes scanning the star field as her vessel glided silently through the void. The Arbiter was humanity's crowning achievement, a sleek obsidian dagger cutting through space, armed with technologies that pushed the boundaries of what Earth's scientists thought possible. "Status report," Reyes said, her voice carrying the steady confidence that had earned her command of Earth's most advanced warship. Commander David Chen looked up from his console, the blue light reflecting off his features. "All systems nominal. Captain, we're maintaining course to the Arcturus colony, ETA 4 hours. Reyes nodded, her thoughts on the troubling transmission they'd received 3 days ago. The human settlement on Arcturus IV had reported unusual activity at the edge of their system before going completely silent. More concerning was that the Galactic Coalition vessels assigned to protect that sector had withdrawn without explanation. "Captain," Lieutenant Farah Hassan called from the communication station, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Admiral Torres." "On screen," Reyes ordered, turning to face the main display. Admiral Sofia Torres appeared, her weathered face grim. The insignia of Earth Defense Command gleamed on her uniform. "Captain Reyes, the situation has deteriorated. We've lost contact with 3 more frontier colonies in the past 12 hours. Reyes felt her stomach tighten. "Any response from the coalition regarding their withdrawal?" "Nothing concrete. Their official statement claims strategic repositioning of assets, but we've received unofficial intelligence that suggests otherwise." Torres leaned closer to the camera. "A Centaurian diplomat let slip that the Coalition Council ordered all their ships to pull back from the outer sectors. They know something's coming, Elena, something they've encountered before. And they didn't warn us," Reyes said, her voice hardening. "That's exactly it. After 2 centuries of denying Earth membership in their precious coalition, they're now abandoning our colonies without so much as a courtesy notice." Torres's eyes narrowed. "I'm upgrading your mission parameters, Captain. The Arbiter is no longer just investigating. You're authorized to engage and defend our settlements by any means necessary." Reyes understood the implication. The Arbiter carried experimental weapon systems that violated several coalition treaties that Earth, as a non-member, had never signed but had respected to maintain diplomatic relations. "Understood, Admiral. We'll protect our people." After the transmission ended, Reyes turned to her executive officer. "Commander Chen, I want all departments at combat readiness, and have Dr. Volkov meet me in my ready room immediately." 10 minutes. Later, Dr. Natalia Volkov entered the captain's ready room. The quantum physicist was the architect behind the Arbiter's most classified system, the Nova Core. "Doctor, I need to know if your creation is combat ready," Reyes said without preamble. Volkov's eyes widened slightly. "The Nova Core has passed all simulations, Captain, but it's never been field tested. The energies we're dealing with are," she hesitated, "unprecedented." "We may need it sooner than expected," Reyes replied, activating a holographic display. "Science Officer Park has detected unusual energy signatures near Arcturus IV. I'd like your analysis." Volkov studied the readings, her expression growing increasingly troubled. "This is impossible," she whispered. "These patterns match theoretical models of transdimensional energy, what we call void energy. It's only been hypothesized until now. Meaning something is manipulating the barrier between our reality and elsewhere." Volkov looked up. "Captain, if these readings are accurate, we're dealing with technology centuries beyond even the Coalition's capabilities." The ship's intercom interrupted them. "Captain, to the bridge." Commander Chen's voice was tense. "We've detected something at the edge of our sensor range." When Reyes returned to the bridge, the main view screen showed a grainy image of what appeared to be a massive crystalline structure hovering near Arcturus IV. Surrounding it were smaller crystal formations, moving with purpose. "Magnify," she ordered. The image clarified, revealing an entity that defied conventional spacecraft design. The main structure resembled a crystalline asteroid the size of a small moon, pulsing with inner light that shifted in patterns that hurt the eyes. The smaller crystal fragments orbited it like escorts. "Life signs?" Reyes asked. "None we can detect," replied Lieutenant Park from the science station. "But the energy output is off the charts. The void energy signature is strongest from the central mass." "Distance to Arcturus colony?" "The entity is approximately 500,000 kilometers from the settlement and moving closer," Chen reported. "At current speed, it will reach the colony in 40 minutes. Reyes made her decision. "Set intercept course, maximum thrust. Communications, attempt to contact both the entity and the colony on all frequencies." The Arbiter surged forward, its advanced engines pushing it to speeds no other Earth vessel could match. Lieutenant Hassan worked at her station, trying various communication protocols. "No response from either the entity or the colony, Captain. But I am detecting faint emergency signals from the settlement. There are still people alive down there." "The entity is changing course," Park announced suddenly. It's accelerating toward us." On the view screen, the crystal formations had broken their orbit around the main mass and were now streaking toward the Arbiter. "Shields up," Reyes ordered. "Weapon systems online." The first salvo of energy beams from the crystal ship struck the Arbiter's shields, causing the entire vessel to shudder. "Shields holding at 87%, Chen reported. "But these aren't conventional weapons. They're somehow draining our shield energy directly." "Return fire, standard phase cannons," Reyes commanded. "Let's see how they respond." The Arbiter's phase cannons fired, striking several of the smaller crystal ships. Some fragmented into pieces, but others seemed to absorb the energy, growing brighter. "Minimal effect," Weapons Officer Lieutenant Kato reported. "They appear to be adapting to our attack profile." Another barrage hit the Arbiter, more powerful than before. "Shields at 62%, Chen announced. "We can't sustain this exchange, Captain." Suddenly, a transmission broke through their communications. There were no visuals, just a voice, or rather, voices speaking in perfect unison. "Earth vessel, you are interfering with the harvest. This system has been designated for consumption as agreed with the Galactic Coalition. Withdraw immediately." Reyes stepped forward. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth Defense Ship Arbiter. You are approaching a human colony under our protection. State your identity and intentions. We are the Void Harvesters. We take what is offered. Your colony has been offered." The implications struck the bridge crew like a physical blow. The Coalition had not merely withdrawn. They had sacrificed human settlements to these entities. "Our colonies were never yours to offer," Reyes responded, her voice steel. "Withdraw from this system immediately. Your species is not part of the arrangement. The Coalition speaks for this sector. You will depart or be consumed with the rest." The crystal ships intensified their attack, the Arbiter rocking under the assault. "Shields at 41% and falling," Chen reported urgently. "Conventional weapons are ineffective." Dr. Volkov's voice came through on a private channel to the captain. "The Nova Core is detecting harmonic resonances with the void energy. Captain, I think it can counter their technology." Reyes knew what this meant. Using the Nova Core would reveal Earth's most closely guarded technological secret, a weapon based on theoretical physics that the Coalition had banned throughout known space. "Your vessel contains unusual energy signatures," the Void Harvester communicated suddenly. "You possess forbidden technology. You will be harvested first and your technology consumed." The main crystal entity was now moving rapidly toward them, the smaller ships forming a perimeter to prevent escape. "They've surrounded us," Chen reported. "No clear avenue of retreat." Reyes made her choice. "Dr. Volkov, prepare the Nova Core for deployment. Target the main crystal entity." The bridge crew exchanged glances. They all knew what was at stake. Nova Core powering up, Volkov's voice came through, professional, despite the tension. "Quantum," harmonics calibrating to match void energy frequencies. The outer hull of the Arbiter began to transform, sections sliding apart to reveal a pulsing blue-white light from within. The ship's power signature changed, becoming something entirely new. "You possess the light of the ancients," the Harvester's voice echoed across the bridge, now showing something akin to alarm. "This is forbidden. Your species should not have this knowledge. Target locked, Cato reported. Reyes looked at the crystalline horror on the view screen, thinking of the innocent colonists below. Fire. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then a pulse of brilliant white-blue energy erupted from the Arbiter, expanding outward in a perfect sphere. Where it touched the crystal ships, they simply stopped, frozen in space, the light within them stuttering and fading. The wave continued until it reached the main entity. The massive crystal structure shuddered as the energy enveloped it. Fractures appeared across its surface, light spilling out from within as the cracks spread. Then, with a silent flash that temporarily blinded the sensors, it shattered into countless fragments. The bridge was silent as they watched the pieces drift apart, their inner light extinguished. All hostile entities neutralized, Cato confirmed after a long moment. Scan the colony, Reyes ordered immediately. Lieutenant Park worked her console, relief washing over her face. Life signs stable. The settlement appears undamaged. Open a channel, Reyes instructed. Let them know they're safe. As communications were established with the grateful colonists, Commander Chen approached Reyes. Captain, he said quietly, the Coalition will know we've used the Nova Core. There will be consequences. Reyes watched the fragments of the void, Harvester drifting on the view screen. There already are consequences, Commander. The Coalition has been sacrificing our people to these things. The question is, for how long and why? Dr. Volkov joined them on the bridge. Captain, during the engagement, the Nova Core collected data I need to share with you. The void energy patterns contain information, almost like a language, and the Core responded to it. What are you saying, Doctor? Reyes asked. I'm saying the Core recognized something in the Harvester's energy signature, as if they're somehow connected. Volkov's eyes were troubled. When the Harvester mentioned the light of the ancients, I don't think it was speaking metaphorically. Reyes glanced at the colonists visible on the communication screen, ordinary humans going about their lives unaware of the cosmic forces at play around them. Set course for Earth. Maximum speed, she ordered. Admiral Torres needs to know what we've learned about the Harvesters, the Coalition's betrayal, and whatever connection exists between our technology and these entities. As the Arbiter turned away from the Arcturus system, Reyes couldn't shake the feeling that they had just fired the first shot in a war that had been brewing for centuries, a war humanity didn't even know it was part of. Until now. Forbidden technology, the Arbiter dropped out of FTL on the edge of the Sol system, the blue curve of Neptune visible in the distance. Captain Reyes had hoped for a quiet approach to Earth, but the welcoming committee waiting for them shattered that expectation. 3 Coalition vessels hung in space directly in their path, a massive Vexaren dreadnought flanked by a Solarian light cruiser and an Alteri tactical vessel. All had weapon systems active. They're hailing us, Captain, Lieutenant Hassan reported, her voice tight. On screen, Reyes ordered, straightening her uniform. The view screen flickered to show a Vexaren commander, his 4 eyes narrowed in what Reyes recognized as barely contained fury. The iridescent scales around his neck were flared, a sign of aggression in his species. Captain Reyes, he said, his translator giving his voice a metallic quality. I am High Command Vex Teral of the Galactic Coalition Security Council. Your vessel will power down all systems and prepare to be boarded. You have deployed forbidden technology in Coalition space. Reyes met his gaze steadily. High Commander, the Arbiter was defending a human colony from an unprovoked attack. We acted in self-defense after Coalition forces abandoned their posts, without warning. The situation with the Void Harvesters is not your concern, the Alteri representative interrupted, their crystalline face refracting light as they spoke. Arrangements have been made to manage their resource requirements. Arrangements that involve sacrificing innocent human lives? Commander Chen asked, stepping forward. Without our knowledge or consent? The Solarian diplomat raised a translucent hand. Earth is not a council member. The agreements made by the Coalition are not subject to your approval. Dr. Volkov had been quietly analyzing data at a science station. Now she approached Reyes and whispered, Captain, I've confirmed it. The Nova Core's quantum architecture shares fundamental similarities with the Void Harvester's energy patterns. It's as if they're different applications of the same underlying principles. Reyes nodded slightly, then addressed the Coalition representatives again. Let me be clear. The technology deployed by the Arbiter was developed on Earth, based on scientific principles discovered by human researchers. We violated no treaties that Earth is bound by. The technology you used, Vexteral snarled, is beyond your species' developmental level. Our scans detected energy signatures matching ancient precursor technology. You have accessed knowledge forbidden to all but the founding members of the Coalition. Before Reyes could respond, a new transmission cut into the channel. Admiral, Torres from Earth Defense Command. This conversation is over, Commander Vexteral, Torres stated firmly. The EDS Arbiter carries diplomatic immunity as a sovereign vessel of Earth. Any attempt to board will be considered an act of war. Admiral, the Solarian diplomat said smoothly. Surely you understand the severity of this situation. The Void Harvesters will demand restitution for the destruction of one of their collection entities. Torres's expression hardened. And we demand explanation for why our colonies were designated for collection without our knowledge. We have transmitted evidence of your secret arrangement with these harvesters to every independent world in the sector. Your betrayal is no longer secret. The Coalition representatives appeared genuinely alarmed at this. You have no understanding of the consequences, the Alteri representative warned. The agreement has kept the core system safe for centuries. At the expense of frontier worlds like ours, Reyes countered. You've been appeasing these entities instead of standing against them. A tense silence followed before Vexteral spoke again. The Arbiter will be permitted to proceed to Earth, but this matter is not concluded. The Security Council will convene to determine an appropriate response. The transmission cut off abruptly. The Arbiter moved past the Coalition vessels toward Earth. Chen turned to Reyes. They're scared. Not just of what we did, but of what we know. And what we might discover next, Reyes agreed. She turned to Dr. Volkov. Doctor, I need everything you can tell me about the connection between the Nova Core and the Harvesters. Technology. 8 hours later, in a secure conference room deep within Earth Defense Command headquarters, Captain Reyes stood before the Joint Military Council, presenting their findings. Large holographic displays showed the Void Harvester and data from the Arbiter's encounter. The evidence is conclusive, Reyes explained. For at least 3 centuries, the Coalition has been sacrificing frontier worlds to these Void Harvesters in exchange for leaving their core systems untouched. As humanity expanded our colonies outward, they simply added our settlements to the sacrifice list without informing us. Admiral Torres shook her head in disgust. And they've been denying our application for Coalition membership for 2 centuries, claiming we're too aggressive and unpredictable. There's more, Dr. Volkov said, stepping forward. She activated a new holographic display showing comparative energy patterns. The Nova Core technology that allowed us to defeat the Harvester shares fundamental quantum principles with their void energy. But we didn't reverse engineer their technology. We developed it independently based on artifacts discovered in the Martian deep ruins 50 years ago. General Marcus Way, head of Earth Intelligence, leaned forward. You're suggesting these Harvesters have some connection to the Mars ruins? Not directly, Volkov clarified. Both appear to be derived from the same source, what the Coalition calls ancient precursor technology. The difference is that while the Harvesters use it to break down matter and energy for consumption, we've harnessed it as a defensive measure, and the Coalition knows this, Reyes added. They're not just angry that we defeated a Harvester, they're terrified that we've independently accessed and developed technology they've kept restricted for centuries. A light flashed on Admiral Torres's console. We're receiving a priority transmission from Proxima Centauri. Another colony is under attack. She looked up grimly. Multiple Harvesters this time. Reyes straightened. The Arbiter can be ready to depart in 3 hours. You won't be going alone, General Way stated. We've accelerated the launch of the Defender and Sentinel. 3 ships with Nova Core technology should be able to handle multiple harvesters. Torres nodded. Captain, you'll lead the task force. But be advised, our intelligence suggests coalition forces may attempt to intervene. They're in damage control mode now that their arrangement with the harvesters is public knowledge. There's something else you should know, Dr. Volkov said, her expression troubled. During the battle, when the Nova Corps engaged the harvester, I detected what I can only describe as recognition between the 2 energy patterns. It was almost like a conversation at the quantum level. What kind of conversation? Torres asked sharply. I'm still analyzing the data, but it appeared that the core was reclaiming something from the harvester, energy patterns reintegrating. Volkov hesitated. In the final moments before the harvester was destroyed, it transmitted a burst of void energy, with a clear message embedded in the quantum fluctuations. What message? Reyes asked. The children have remembered, Volkov said quietly. I have no idea what it means. The implications hung in the air. General Wei broke the silence. Captain, your primary mission remains the protection of our colonies, but your secondary objective is now to gather any intelligence on the connection between humans, the Nova Core technology, and these harvesters. 24 hours later, the Arbiter led Earth's first combat task force into the Proxima Centauri system. The colony was visible on long-range sensors, as were the 3 crystalline harvesters surrounding it. They haven't begun harvesting the settlement yet, Commander Chen observed. They're waiting for something. Or someone, Reyes replied grimly as the sensors detected new arrivals. 2 coalition enforcement vessels appeared at the edge of the system. Looks like they want to ensure we don't interfere this time. Captain, Lieutenant Hassan called out. We're receiving a transmission, but not from the coalition ships. It's from the lead harvester. The bridge crew exchanged surprised glances. Put it through, Reyes ordered. The same multi-layered voice they had heard at Arcturus filled the bridge, but this time with a different message. The bearers of the ancient light have come, as was foretold. The cycle approaches completion. Reyes stepped forward. This is Captain Reyes. We've come to protect our colony. Withdraw from this system immediately. You do not understand your role, children of Earth. You were not meant to rediscover the light so soon. The Coalition has kept you isolated for this purpose. Lieutenant Park looked up from her science station. Captain, I'm detecting quantum fluctuations similar to what Dr. Volkov observed during our last encounter, but much more complex. The Coalition vessels were moving to intercept the Earth task force. Captain, Chen warned, we have incoming. Hails from both Coalition ships. They're ordering us to stand down. Reyes made her decision. Ignore them. Formation Delta, Defender and Sentinel, move to flanking positions. Prepare Nova Corps for simultaneous deployment. As the Earth vessels moved into position, the bridge communication system activated again, but this time it was Dr. Volkov from the science lab. Captain, I've decoded more of the quantum language. The harvesters, they're not just collecting energy. They're collecting memory patterns stored in quantum fields around inhabited worlds. Memory patterns? Whose memories? Reyes asked. Not individual memories, collective evolutionary memories. Captain, I think they're harvesting the quantum imprint of entire civilization's development. Volkov's voice grew urgent. And the Mars artifacts, they're not just technology. They're storage devices containing the quantum memory patterns of whoever created them. Reyes looked at the view screen where the harvesters hovered near the human colony. And when we activated the Nova Core, we didn't just use their technology, Volkov confirmed. We integrated part of their stored consciousness. The lead harvester was changing, its crystalline structure reconfiguring into something resembling a massive humanoid form. All vessels, hold position, Reyes ordered. Do not fire unless fired upon. The crystalline figure spoke again, its voice, now singular rather than multiple. For aeons we have harvested the quantum echoes of evolving minds, preserving what would otherwise be lost to entropy. We are all that remains of those who came before, the ancients who seeded this galaxy with life. The Coalition discovered fragments of our consciousness and feared what we represented. But you, children of Earth, embraced our legacy without fear. The Coalition vessels opened fire on the Harvester, their weapons having minimal effect on its structure. "Captain," Chen said urgently, "the Coalition ships are powering up their main weapon systems. They're targeting all of us, including the colony." Reyes understood in a flash of clarity. They'd rather destroy the colony than let us learn the truth. She opened a channel to all ships. "Earth vessels, move to protect the settlement. Deploy Nova cores on my mark." As the Arbiter and its sister ships positioned themselves between the colony and the incoming threat, Reyes couldn't help but feel they were standing at a pivotal moment in human history. Whatever connection existed between humanity and these ancient entities, the Coalition had kept it hidden for centuries. Now, that secret was about to break open, and the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity's stand. The space above Proxima Centauri became a theater of light and energy, as 3 Earth vessels faced down both the crystalline harvesters and the Coalition enforcement ships. Captain Reyes watched the tactical display, calculating their next move carefully. "The Coalition vessels are charging their main weapons," Commander Chen reported. "They're targeting the lead harvester, the one that's been communicating with us." Dr. Volkov's voice came through the communication system from the science lab. "Captain, I've completed my analysis of the quantum patterns. The harvesters aren't our enemies. They're archivists. They preserve the consciousness of extinct civilizations." "Then why have they been attacking frontier worlds?" Reyes demanded. "They haven't been attacking. They've been harvesting quantum imprints before planets are abandoned. The Coalition has been evacuating their own people before designating systems for harvest, but they never bothered to warn non-member species like us." The crystalline figure spoke again, its voice resonating not just through the communication systems, but somehow directly in their minds. "For millennia, we have preserved what would otherwise be lost. The Coalition discovered our purpose but feared our power. They negotiated an arrangement. Certain worlds would be designated for harvest, while others would remain untouched. But they kept a secret from us." "What secret?" Reyes asked. "That human DNA contains markers specifically designed to interface with ancient technology. Your species was engineered to be our successors, but the Coalition has worked to keep you isolated. Primitive denied your birthright." The revelation struck the bridge crew like a physical blow. Lieutenant Park looked up from her console in shock. "Captain, the Coalition flagship is firing." A massive energy beam lanced out from the Vexaran dreadnought, striking the crystalline figure. Fractures appeared across its surface, light spilling from within. "Shields at maximum," Reyes ordered. "Move to intercept the next attack." The Arbiter surged forward, positioning itself between the wounded harvester and the Coalition vessels. The Defender and Sentinel followed suit, forming a defensive line. "They're targeting us now," Chen warned as the Coalition ships adjusted their aim. "Deploy Nova cores," Reyes commanded. "Synchronized defensive pattern." All 3 Earth ships transformed, their hulls reconfiguring to reveal the pulsing blue-white energy of their Nova cores. As the Coalition weapons fired, a translucent energy barrier formed between the vessels, absorbing the attack. "The barrier is holding," Chen reported with surprise. "The cores are working together, strengthening each other." "It's more than technology," Dr. Volkov said, excitement in her voice. "The quantum consciousness embedded in the cores is responding to our intent. It's learning from us, adapting." The damaged harvester began to dissolve, but instead of fragmenting as the one at Arcturus had, its crystalline structure flowed toward the Earth vessels, merging with their Nova core energy fields. "What's happening?" Reyes demanded. "It's integrating with our systems," Volkov explained. "Voluntarily." The voice of the harvester spoke again, now seeming to come from within the ships themselves. "We offer you our knowledge freely. The time of harvest is ending. The time of remembrance begins." Suddenly, new information flooded the Arbiter's systems. Star charts, technical schematics, and historical records stretching back millions of years. The data was overwhelming, yet somehow perfectly comprehensible to the human crew. "Captain, Lieutenant Hassan called out in astonishment. "We're receiving transmissions from all over the sector. Multiple coalition vessels are breaking formation and refusing orders to fire on us. Some are actively moving to protect Earth colonies." On the view screen, they could see the Vexaran dreadnought continuing its attack, but the other coalition ships had turned their weapons against it. "It's a schism," Commander Chen realized. Not all coalition species agreed with the leadership's decisions. A new transmission came through, this time from a Solarian captain whose ship had moved to protect an Earth colony. "Captain Reyes, many of us have opposed the Council's policies toward Earth for decades. The revelations about the Harvester Pact have finally given us cause to act openly. We stand with humanity." The Vexaran dreadnought, now facing multiple opponents, ceased fire and began to retreat. The immediate danger had passed, but Reyes knew this was just the beginning. "All vessels, stand down from combat alert," she ordered, but maintain defensive posture. In the hours that followed, representatives from 7 coalition species formed a communication council with the Earth Task Force. The Harvester consciousness, now integrated with the Nova cores, provided a quantum communication network that allowed instantaneous conference across vast distances. Admiral Torres joined from Earth, her holographic image standing on the Arbiter's bridge. "The Coalition Council is in chaos," she reported. "Half their member species have denounced the leadership and are calling for reforms. Most importantly, they're acknowledging humanity's right to protection and self-determination." "And the Harvesters?" Reyes asked. "They're still out there," Dr. Volkov explained, now understanding their nature more clearly. "But their purpose is changing. With the quantum network we're establishing, cultural and technological exchange can happen without the need for physical harvest." Torres turned to Reyes. "We've received intelligence that the hardline coalition factions aren't giving up. They're gathering a fleet to contain the human threat, as they're calling it. And they've activated some kind of ancient weapon system at their headquarters on Vexar Prime. The nullifier," the Harvester consciousness spoke through the ship's systems. "A device created to sever quantum connections permanently. If activated at full power, it would destroy not just the Nova cores, but the consciousness of every ancient, preserved within the Harvesters throughout the galaxy. Cultural genocide," Reyes said grimly. "We can't allow that." "We won't," Torres agreed. "But we're outnumbered and outgunned by conventional standards. Captain, you have 1 week to prepare the task force. We're getting reinforcements from Earth, and our new coalition allies are sending ships, but we need something more." Volkov stepped forward. "The quantum network gives us an advantage. The Nova cores on our ships can be linked to create what I'm calling a Nova network, a distributed defense system that draws power from every connected node." "How many nodes do we need?" Reyes asked. "The more the better," Volkov replied. "Each human operator strengthens the network exponentially." Torres nodded decisively. "I'll have every available ship equipped with at least a basic Nova core component before we rendezvous at the edge of Vexaran space." 1 week later, Captain Reyes stood on the bridge of the Arbiter, now the command ship of the largest fleet Earth had ever assembled. 37 Earth vessels had been hastily equipped with Nova core technology, joined by 22 ships from coalition species that had broken away from the Central Authority. Facing them across the void was an even larger fleet of hardline coalition vessels surrounding Vexar Prime, with the massive nullifier station visible in orbit around the planet. "All ships reporting ready, Captain," Commander Chen announced. "Nova network linkage at 97% efficiency." Reyes opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Captain Reyes. Today we face a force that has denied humanity its place among the stars for centuries. They have sacrificed our colonies, hidden our heritage, and now they threaten to destroy the preserved consciousness of countless, ancient civilizations. We fight not just for Earth, but for the right of all species to know their true history and determine their own future." She paused, looking at the enemy fleet on the view screen. "Activate the Nova network on my mark." Throughout the Allied fleet, Nova cores hummed to life. Blue-white energy flowing between ships like ethereal tendrils connecting them all into a single, vast entity. Human operators felt their consciousness partially merge with the quantum network, each mind strengthening the whole. "They're firing," Chen warned as the coalition fleet launched its opening salvo. "Network active," Reyes commanded. A shimmering barrier formed around the Allied fleet, absorbing the incoming fire. But it wasn't just defensive. The network began to extend tendrils of energy toward the enemy vessels, not to destroy but to connect. "What's happening?" Torres asked from her ship. "The network is attempting to communicate," Volkov explained in wonder. "It's bypassing their communication systems and speaking directly to the crews." On dozens of coalition ships, crews suddenly found themselves receiving unfiltered information about the true history of the Harvesters, the ancient civilization that had preceded them all, and humanity's engineered connection to that legacy. The quantum consciousness stored in the Nova network shared not just data, but experience, the lived memory of civilizations that had flourished and fallen over millions of years. One by one, coalition vessels began to power down their weapons. Some broke formation entirely, moving to neutral positions away from both fleets. "It's working," Chen said in amazement. "They're standing down." But not all were persuaded. The Vexeran ships at the core of the formation maintained their attack, and the nullifier station began to power up, a ominous red glow building at its center. "The station will fire in approximately 3 minutes," Park reported from the science station. "If it activates fully, it will sever all quantum connections in this sector." Reyes made her decision. "Divert all network energy to the Arbiter. We're going to take out that station." "Captain," Volkov objected, "that would require you to approach point-blank range. Even with the network, the Arbiter wouldn't survive." "We don't need to survive," Reyes said quietly. "We just need to succeed." Before anyone could argue further, a new voice joined the communication channel, a Vexeran, but not one from the opposing fleet. "Captain Reyes, this is Professor Vex Marin of the Historical Truth Council. My team and I are aboard the nullifier station. We've been working to sabotage it from within since learning of its activation. We can disable it completely, but we need time." Hope surged through the bridge crew. "How much time?" Reyes asked. 10 minutes, no more." Reyes looked at the tactical display. The remaining loyal coalition,